There we are. Okay, apologies for the audio issues. My mic is now fixed, so you'll be able to hear me. So yes, here we are here from Road Atlanta for the Downforce Legends, the final round for the Downforce Legends, and it should be a really good night of racing. We have obviously the 2 races here for the DFL, and also the Enduro round for the GT4s from Mount Panorama later on tonight as well. So should be in for a good one. And it looks like qualifying has now finished, so we can cut over to the grid. So there we are. Brett Barker takes pole position with a 1:14.445. Adam Proctor there alongside him in P2. Aiden Schweikart and Guy Leach in the second row. Stuart Ellis and Alex Court in the third. John Baldwin and David Christensen in the fourth row. Philip Butler and Cade Donnelly in the fifth. Moving down the field, Sean Reese in P11, Adam Lavis in P12, Philip Howe and Gary Wellman 13 and 14, Todd Maxfield and Troy Davidson 15th and 16th, Russ Green and Dave Oliver in 17th and 18th, Dean Logsdale and Michael Latta in P20. And it looks like Wayne Visser there in P21. So, we'll jump on board there and go to the start line as drivers are just gridding up and getting ready. So I will be broadcasting this one solo for the majority of tonight. We may have another commentator later on if weather permits. Aiden Schultz would normally be commentating is unfortunately out as there is an electric storm in his area. And we do have Josh Reno standing by in race control. So we may cut over to him later on if things go chaotic and we need his input. So just waiting on everybody to line up there on the grid, and we'll be able to get this started and underway. So looking at the leaderboard here for the Downforce Legends, Stuart Ellis leading with 357, but Guy Leach very close with 345. Braden Sagasser in P3 with 293, Brett Barker with 279, Paul Wood in 5th place with 276, and Schweikart in P6 with 275. So there is points at play, and we still have a championship on our hands. We will see how it develops over the course of the night. There are the lights. And we just wait to see Barney wave that green flag and get this underway. The lights are out and they go down towards on. That is a terrible start at the back of the field. But at the front of the grid, things seem to be going well. So Brett Barker away nice and cleanly. Adam Proctor there in P2. Everyone else falling in line. And it seems, bar that starting incident, we are away and it's relatively clean. Ooh, it's Adam Proctor. I think he caught a little bit too much curb, had to swerve all the way to the left. There's a car off the back as well. I think it may be Philip Howe. We'll see if we can go back in a moment and verify that. Brett Barker's still in the lead, but Schweikart's getting challenged there. Looks like he passes Guy Leach and takes P2 now. Stuart Ellis, Alex Court, and Proctor back down to P6. There we go, down towards turns 10A. A lock up there from the front, but everyone seems to be pointing straight. No, that is Alex Court getting spun. He may have spun on his own accord, I'm not too sure. So he'll come through, and I think everyone did it okay. So we cross the line and we start lap 2. Adam Proctor in attack range at the moment, but doesn't have the ideal line going into the next turn. So we'll stay behind and follow for now. Let's go back and see if we can get a view of the incident. As race control let us know there's a 5-second penalty for Troy Davidson with the start line contact. So this was Philip Howe, and yep, that's a very typical move there in Road Atlanta. So unfortunately he will take damage for that. And there was also Alex Court coming into the end chicane. Here we go. And he lost it on his own. So a little bit too deep. It's off the circuit. Very unfortunate for him. So, Brett Barker still in the lead of the race, but Guy Leach will have something to say about that. Looks to go down the outside, going towards the chicane. It is the ideal line if he can keep the nose in front, but he doesn't. Adam Proctor tries to sneak in there, but chooses not to. Brett Barker's had a massive jump. So 1:15.7 sets the fastest lap of the race so far and has a 2.8 second gap to Guy Leach there in P2. Sean Rees overtaking John Baldwin there, coming across the line. And some decent gaps forming in the middle of the pack. A nice race down there in for P10. Watching out of Proctor at the moment, trying to catch up to or stay on the tail end of this front battle, or P2 at the moment. And it looks like we have an incident out the back. Here's Michael Ladder coming through, and take your bets now. Too much curve on the outside. Unsteer settles the car into that tyre barrier and just keeps it out of the wall. Not bad. That'll limit the damage to the front end of the car. So Brett Barker has truly waited for nobody and is extending that lead hand over fist. Almost at the 3-second mark here, so Guy Leach will have a lot to do. But we do have 2 races, of course, with an inverted top 10 grid in the second one. So we'll see how that goes with a 1:15.051 from Stuart Ellis. Setting the fastest lap of the race so far. 15 minutes on the clock for this first round, 4 laps in. On board with Ellis at the moment, just coming through that first sector now. So here you can see just lifting off, trying not to unsettle the car. It is very, very easy to get shot left and into the tyre barrier. A nice tight line here. Doing well to follow. That's Guy Leach ahead of him, and then Brett Barker in the distance. The gap has shrunk from about 3 seconds to 1.7. So it looks like Brett Barker has messed up somewhere. That has worked in everyone else's favour. And Schweikart uncharacteristically down in P15 at the moment. Usually we see him more towards the front of the grid, but unfortunately not in this race. We'll see if he can climb up some positions over the course of the next 10 minutes. Biggest mover at the moment is Sean Rees. 6 positions gained there. And yeah, we can see Schweikart lost 12 positions early on. So he obviously got caught up in one of those early incidents and has paid the price for it. You can see him now chasing down Troy Davidson, trying to get past. Yeah, you can see the damage here on the left, the front left of the car. Pull it up. Really nice and tight. Keeping the draft, trying to shoot up on the inside, see if he can take that inside line. It's going to work wonders here at the moment. Most likely will get the run. However, he'll have a wider arc coming into the next set, and Troy will actually just let him go past without any fight. So that'll work. You are right. Visser is up 9. Didn't catch that first scan on there, but he is up 9 positions, which will make sense because he started at the back. 4 people are out, so yes, good positions there from Wayne. We'll see if he can take Wellman at the moment, very close by. Just back there. Monster Energy livery. And chased by Philip Butler in the Speed Racer livery. That's actually a great livery for this car. Matches it quite well as Alex Court sets the fastest lap of the race so far. 1:14.677. There in P10. So he will start pole should he hold that position as it stands. And Proctor is losing a ton of positions at the moment. What's happened there? So coming up over the ridge and just uses a little too much curb. Well done. Okay, so lucky for him, there's that extra bit of track. And the grass actually works now, so it doesn't get shot off into the barriers. So almost up to 7.5 minutes as Philip Butler side by side now. And he's going to try and hold this inside line. which will end up being the outside for the next turn. Here we go. Visser later on the brakes. Yes, he will hold the position and stay in P12 for now. We'll move up a couple of positions. David Christensen, P10, going wide, but maintaining the speed. Chasing down Alex Court in P9. Fast and Furious. The extra downforce allows you to corner much faster than you would in cars like a GT3 or GT4. But unfortunately, that means they are more susceptible and sensitive to any changes in the chassis height, which is why that curb specifically is a big danger. So they need to make sure they take it nice and easy and put as little risk into shaking the car as possible. You see Proctor getting a little wagging of the tail. No foul though, stays ahead. There's the gap to the front now. 1.25 seconds, so Guy Leach doing a really good job chasing down Brett Parker here in the lead. Stuart Ellis also staying within that 1 second mark here in P3. I am curious to see the difference in times here. So Ellis was faster in that previous lap by about 5/10. The gaps have started to expand there in the middle part of the grid as Adam Lavis chasing down John Baldwin. John Baldwin getting very messy coming down the hill. Going exceptionally wide coming out of that turn. Davis giving him all the room as possible at this point. All he has to do is sort of stay on the back stuff. He might gain a position here. I'm not sure if... And there we go. Look at the throttle input there from John. Getting sideways, drifting around the corner. Did a good job to catch that slide. But that is slow. And Labels know it. So here we go. He'll take that draft. And they'll make a decision. Most likely he'll shoot off to the left here. Try and take the inside coming up to chicane section. Extended chicane. Will he go later on the brakes? No. He chooses to back out. Knows that he's got the draft in his advantage. And it might be a 2-for-1 as John Baldwin starts to catch Sean Reese ahead of him. That's a good point. Christensen, yes, if he keeps his place as it is, he will start pole. And considering there's only about 4.5 minutes left in the race, you can't really gain that many positions for the point. So that could be an option. It won't be very difficult for him to maintain P10, considering P11 is 3.7 seconds down the road. So all he has to do is maintain his current speed, and he'll be all right. But he's very, very close to Adam Proctor, and who doesn't want to, gain a position during a race. So starting P2 is not bad either. But we'll see how it goes. Parker's still leading as Guy Leach drops back to Stuart Ellis, who's now in P2. And Lavis was one-on-one with John Baldwin at the moment, but Donnelly and Court have both caught up. And so too have Proctor and Christensen for that matter. Everyone within the 1 second mark here. So six-car train, actually a 7-car train now, going from Baldwin to, I should say, Sean Reese to Christensen there in P10. Oh, down on the inside. That was Donnelly, I believe, getting overtaken there by Court. So Court will move up 1 to P7. Still one down from his starting position. I'm going to go a little wide. Try to keep that car straight. Doing a great job so far. Just how close they are. Now, normally you'd see the car behind come at a drastic rate, but since everybody does have the draft of the car in front of them, The advantage equalizes coming down towards the turn. So, oh, and that's Donnelly going sideways, coming out of the corner. Yeah, just went in a little too hard. Spins himself around. It's unfortunate there. Looking strong. But will now drop down to P14 as a result. Jumping back up to the front of the grid. Brett Parker still in the lead of the race, slightly extending almost to the 2-second mark. Stuart Ellis and Guy Leach still fighting for that second position. We've only got a couple of minutes left on the board. It will most likely be white flag next time round. See just how close Guy Leach is getting. Very good draft down there. He's a little too far back. The brakes won't hold him. He'll look at it, but as I suspected, he'll just stay in line. And this is actually the best course of action. So right now, take a look to the left side of your screen. We'll see if Barney is waving that white flag, which he is. So that signifies that we are on the final lap. Guy Leach looking to the inside of the next corner. Right now, he's got to be patient. The best part to overtake on the track coming up will be coming out of turn 5, I believe it is, on that extended curb. You can try and put some pressure. You might be able to force Stuart to make a mistake. We will see. Both of them exit out quite well. Alex Court is looking back of Adam Lavis for a move. Stuart Ellis doing a good job to hold Guy Leach at bay. They've only got this extended straight to go. I don't think he'll be able to close the gap. It's quite large. Still at the 2.5. Looks on the inside, but too far back. Oh, but Stuart Ellis messes up the corner. Will keep the position because of the only line. And Brett Barker will come around the final turn and take the win. Stuart Ellis in P2, Guy Leach in P3. And Sean Rees will come over the ridge and down to take the 4th spot. And there goes the line. So Christensen finishes 9th, and Aiden Schweikart is getting involved in that early incident. Will come across in P10, so he will start on pole for the upcoming race. But as for the race winner, Brett Barker, good job start to finish. The 1.9 second gap to round out the race as we so net code there between Schweikart and Visser on lap 11. We're just waiting for one more car. That'll be Maxfield, Todd Maxfield there, and across the line in P16. And that is that race done and dusted. Race 1 of 2 as we have a 2-minute warm-up. So we might as well have a look at the results from that race. All right, so Brett Barker taking the win here for the first race of 2. And a decent amount of points with it. Stuart Ellis in P2, Guy Leach in P3. Sean Rees, John Baldwin, Alex Court, Adam Proctor, Adam Lavis, David Christensen, and Schweikart ran out the top 10. Gary Wellman in P11, Kate Donnelly in P12, Troy Davidson in P13, Wayne Visser in P14, Philip Butler P15, Todd Maxfield P16, Michael Latta in P17, Philip Howe, Russ Green, and Dave Oliver round out the 20. There's also Dean Logsdale down at the bottom as well, but I'm not sure if he actually started the race. So a decent start to that one, Josh, if you're here. That was a fairly easy one for you. Nothing too major.
Yeah, I mean, just one little starting incident. Everyone was on their best behaviour with their rejoins. So lots of unforced errors, as always. But yeah, when people are on their best behaviour and looking out for one another, then yeah, we can normally avoid too many incidents. Just the one incident there with Aiden and Wayne. He had earned racing room, and a little bit of net code contributed to it, but would have been a no further action regardless.
Excellent. All right, well, we've got the second race coming up. That'll be a longer stint. First one, 15 minutes. The second one, 25, I want to say. Yep, 25 with the reverse grid. So that would be Schweikart starts in pole position. And Brett Barker will start in P10. Fantastic track here, Road Atlanta. Well known for its host of the Enduro, and also used in the IMSA circuit.
Really difficult combination by the look of it. There's a few unavoidable curbs that you really have to clobber. And yeah, it looks like there's quite a few boys that are really struggling with hitting them straight and, holding the right amount of throttle to keep the car stable. But yeah, should be an interesting race here.
Yeah, and that's the thing with these Downforce Legends, the Radical SR8. It's they're very, very, very touchy. And so with a track like this, where you have those elevation changes and also those pretty severe curbs, you do have to be paying attention when you make those turns. So Schweikart there in P1. He will start on pole. David Christensen will start alongside him on that first row. Adam Lavis, Adam Proctor, Alex Court, John Baldwin, Sean Reese, Guy Leach, Stuart Ellis, and Brett Barker are your 10. We can hear them revving. There are the lights. We wait for the green flag to start off race 2. And we are underway, and it looks like a much better start. Oh, let me see, Philip Howe getting tail happy at the front, at the back, I should say. But Aiden Schweikart will lead this motor race, and he'll do it well. Very decent start from Sharp IT driver. John Baldwin in P5 on your screen at the moment as Kate Donnelly gets messed up somewhere and will lose a ton of positions, drops down to P16. It looks like him and Wayne Visser may have been caught up in an incident. We'll see if we can go back to that shortly. That is Adam Proctor, I want to say, in the tyre barrier. And that's going to cost him a lot as Sean Reese will go around the outside of Sean Ellis. However, Ellis with the inside line will come out on top into P6. A snap from the steering will hit Guy Leach. And Brett Barker was looking great, but drops down now to P11. Just put a little bit too much throttle coming out of the corner. Adam Lavis looking for that overtake, but he's been boxed in by Sean Reese. It's an excellent move. Sean will take the inside line, and Lavis will lock up. Has to take evasive action and will drop down a ton of positions. 8 positions lost from the start of the race. And it was an excellent move from Reese to put him into that position. Really encompassing all the facets of racing. 10-second penalty will be dealt with car 175 for contact with Kate Donnelly. And that would be the incident that we were referring to earlier. 25 minutes on the clock. Aiden Schweikart with a decent launch, staying in the front of this race, but Alex Court is very close behind him, and David Christensen the same. So Christensen losing 1 position since the start, but still in that front pack. We see Lavis just coming over that curve. He's chasing down Brett Barker, who had a mess up of his own on the previous lap, just coming through here. So going through turn 7, I believe that is. Getting a little loose. Seems to do it a lot better this time round. So we shoot up to the front here. Alex Court in the slipstream of Schweikart. Now he'll have to try and play his cards right, because unfortunately it isn't strong enough to get you past the car in front unless you are very, very close coming out of the top section of the track. So he'll want to try and force a mistake from Aiden at the front. 1:15.59 from the Quantum Motorsports driver, getting the fastest lap of the race. Lap 3, 2 minutes and 50 seconds down. Still plenty of time to go, as the gaps have started to significantly increase. I didn't think they'd increase that much, but everyone in that middle pack is starting to extend closer to the 1 second mark. We see John Baldwin, Guy Leach, and Sean Rees all outside that. Okay, Donnelly, unfortunately, with that incident, drops down almost 5 seconds back to P11. Adam Proctor, of course, going into the wall early, so and in P13, but he's doing well now. Chase Donnelly, try and gain a position. Philip Butler now. Trying to chase down Lavis. Lavis, of course, with that damage on the back, so he did get tapped somehow. I'm not sure if that's costing him performance. Lavis doing a great job trying to box him out using the limit of the track, and it works out for him for now. Speed Race is going to have to find another way by. As Court sets a fastest lap yet again, 1:15.341. And look at how close Philip Butler is coming out of that last turn. So this is looking good. If he can try and maintain this gap down the S's, may have a chance coming out of the large left-hander. Have a look. Here we go, down the hill. Nice exit there. He's doing well so far, but the next two turns are going to be make or break. We can try and maintain this closeness. We'll have a good shot down the straight. So Lavis will be getting a slight drive from the cars ahead, but it won't be as powerful. You can see just how much Philip Butler is gaining. But not at the rate that he would like. He's going to look on the inside. No, actually, he lifts. So he makes an early decision. He's not going to try and threaten that overtake. Not just yet. Still 20 minutes left of racing to go as he goes a little wide, but smartly doesn't gas it out. So we will maintain composure of the car. We shoot back to the front of the race here. Alex Court in P2, chasing down Aiden Schweikart in the lead of the race. 0.3 the gap. Alex Court doing a good job. We can see there's some damage in the front left of that car. But it doesn't seem to have slowed him down at all. Someone jump started badly. Possibly. Did anybody get given a black flag? Is that something you can see, Josh?
Doesn't look like it, mate. Don't believe so.
Fair enough. So nobody's come through the pit lane. Let's see. Brett Barker did. He came in the second of the second lap. And Ellis has also dropped down too. That is true. Ellis has come in through the pits for a 25.8 transit time. I don't know if... Is it a stop and hold or a drive-through for a jump start that iRacing?
I believe it's a drive-through, and yes, it does look like Stewart did jump. Just having a look back now. He's definitely off the line a fair bit earlier than anyone else.
Oh, that's a good spot there, Starkey. Definitely didn't catch it that time, but yes, it does look like he has travelled through the pit lane, so that is a rough one for him. All the way down in P14 with Brett Barker. Guy Leach must be cheering right now. He's got a decent position in race 1, and he's in the top 5 for race 2. And Alex Court goes on the inside. Schweikart breaks way too late coming out of the corner and does not have the traction, and he will lose the lead of the motor race. So Alex Court into P1. Schweikart straight away slips back into that line. Will not allow him to get away for free, as David Christensen will just stay back and watch this. He's got a 4-second gap to the car behind. That is Guy Leach in P4. We will shoot back a couple of positions. Lavis looking for the overtake on Davidson. Does not get it. Philip Butler still in the same position there. Then there's Maxfield and Wellman, the two cars behind them. And that makes out the top 10 as it looks like Reese comes into the pits. That's That's interesting. And there's multiple people coming into the pits. Why would that be? DFL is not a series in which you need to do pit stops. So either there's significant damage for these cars or something has gone wrong. Keep an eye on it. 8 minutes and 20 have come and gone. Lavis looking to try and shoot up on the inside of the next corner. Will he be able to outbrake Davidson here? No. This is going to be a really good position for Butler if he's not paying attention. So here we go. So he's trying to break the toe. He's got to be careful though. Can't do too many moves. Lavis will go around the outside and will have the speed to do so. So Butler is going to try and sneak in there. He will stay tucked in. However, he won't be able to get a double overtake. There isn't the amount of room, and Phillip will also not be able to shoot up on the inside. So he will be locked into where he is. And Davidson is going to try and hold on, but he can't. Lavis will move up into P6. And Davidson will lose at least the one position. Butler's looking on the inside, seeing if maybe he can get him to mess up. Here we go. Having to back out. Oh, and something's happened there. Oh, I cut the camera at the worst possible time. And many cars were involved in that. Let's have a look. So here we go. Maxfield out the front. And so he will run straight into the back there. But let's have a look at that from Lavis's perspective. I have no idea what happened there, but Phillip Butler just pulled up incredibly quickly.
So it looks like Phil's just got a little bit sideways over the curb, and unfortunately it looks like Todd hasn't reacted in time.
Oh, that's exactly what happened. That is quite unfortunate there. So sliding, trying to catch the car, and Maxfield did not have any time to react. And both of those guys will drop down. Phillip Butler into P13, Maxfield into P14. As Stuart Ellis moves back up into P10. Yeah, that's a good point, Starkey. That's exactly it. Trying to catch the car in front. And then Maxfield just wasn't expecting that much of a slowdown. And runs right into the back. It's always the worst feeling too. If you're a driver and you're following someone and you get caught off like that, you get these like two feelings. You have this feeling of rage because you're like, why the hell would you slow down there? Because you can't imagine that someone's like made a mistake, right? You're just like, what? Why would you slow down there? And then that immediate realization of, oh, well, I've just hit a go. So there's that nice balance of emotions. I can't imagine you feeling too great. And the same goes to Phillip Butler too. All he was trying to do was catch a slide and ends up catching out the guy behind. So commiserations to those two. 11 minutes 30 on the clock. Schweikart is bringing the gap down to the front, but still in P2. So Alex is doing a great job holding out. And a 5-second penalty from race control. Todd Maxfield contact with Phillip Butler there on lap 8. So Schweikart's doing a pretty good job just maintaining the gap here, 0.4. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the draft is doing him any favours in the back end, because all it does is just bring him back down to like the 0.3 mark, and then it starts to extend throughout the rest of the lap. So you can see here now, he's almost, so he's at 2/10. Then they come into the braking zone. He closes up that gap. Takes a very good line. Has to come off the throttle though, to keep the car from going too fast. And this is really good at the moment, actually. So he takes that short line. Alex caught. So Schweikart's looking to the inside. It's a risky one into turn 1, but he'll make it work. An excellent job there from Aiden Schweikart. He will take the lead, but is it momentary? Oh, that is a great cutoff there. So Alex caught, forced to cut back in line. And the lead of the motor race switches once again. Schweikart takes it back. It is Court now who will be hunting. We'll see if he can do the same on the next go round. But a very, very clean motor race from the front. And unfortunately for Guy Leach, 4 seconds back. So it looks like it'll be a fight between these two and then everybody else behind. Leach himself has a 3-second gap to Christensen in P4. Go. You can see that car getting bigger and bigger. He's looking on the inside but realizes it's not ideal. And we'll back out. And didn't quite take the line he wanted there, but goes through nonetheless. So this is pretty much the only battle at the moment. Davidson is getting close to Adam Lavis there for P6. But he's outside that 5/10 mark. Those are very clean lines there from Schweikart. Alex Court getting a little caught out, but luckily he has a decent amount of room to run wide as Brett Barker sets the fastest lap now. 1.14.625 down in P12. Josh hasn't Aiden evolved as a driver overall package this season. Props to him driving really well. I agree. I concur. Aiden had a couple of mistakes there, getting penalty points and the like, but coming back, it's great evolution from this driver. And the race you're watching is a perfect example of this. Hasn't put a foot wrong so far. Court is closer this time round. Not close enough to take on the inside. However, we still have 10 minutes of race to go, so anything can happen. We'll be bringing it to you here on the platforms of the GSRC. Thank you for tuning in. Wherever you are, you're enjoying your Wednesday night. I, for one, have a fantastic light show out my window, and I'm hoping that light show does not strike my house. Otherwise, this broadcast will be very abrupt. Stark there. Been lots of drivers improving this season markedly so far. Yes, correct. And that is where a club like the GSRC is so good when you test your mettle against others. They say iron sharpens iron, and we are seeing that evidently. And as the seasons go on, everyone improves with each other, and the racing gets better because of it. So Court was very close there, but chose not to go down the inside. It's you do have to try and brake a lot later if you want to make that move stick, and then you're also at a disadvantage coming into turn B, turn 10B, I think it's called. Schweikart will start another lap here, lap 14. And there's a couple of other cars that have closed up their gaps. Wellman in P9 chasing down Baldwin. We'll cut to them momentarily. Here we go, into that elongated chicane.
Speaking of Starkey, congratulations. He was voted onto the committee last night, so the 13th member. Glad to have him on board.
Very good. So Wellman couldn't quite get that move done. We'll fall back again. Try one more time on the next one. Shoot back towards the front again. Alex Court right up there on the back of that car. This might actually be the moment. So here we go. Aiden has to make a choice, left or right, sir. He will choose right, and Alex takes a little peek but chooses not to. So he is biding his time, but he knows that he can get to the gap that's needed. And so I expect to see quite a hectic last couple laps between these two. And Stuart Ellis looking to do the same to Davidson. Shoots up onto the right side. And he'll have the ideal braking zone. Davidson's going to try and go as well, but he doesn't push the agenda. Oh, he actually pushes too hard. And that's Davidson around. Now he's going to try and rejoin safely. Is he going to nick the wall? Unfortunately, he does. trying to spin the car around, didn't work out. Moves down into P9, make that P10 as John Baldwin makes his move. So looking at the movers and shakers, Proctor down 10 positions. Unfortunate for him, the biggest mover right now is, well, it's a tie between Guy Leach and Kate Donnelly. Both 5 positions. So Ellis is doing a good job here chasing down Lavis at the moment. Lavis with that damage, doing well to hold the position he's got, but a 12.5 second gap to David Christensen ahead means that 5th or 6th is going to be the best he'll get for now, bar a major mistake or something thereof, as Christensen seems to have just gone a little wide. Coming through there, let's have a look. Is there a lock up here? He extended the track limit, so that's okay, nice and safe. And a safety license point penalty for Gary Wellman. Contacted John Baldwin on lap 14 as Brett Barker sets another fastest lap, 1:14.557. And during that, it looks like Ellis did manage to get past Adam Lavis. So here we go, nice tucked in, and he'll do exactly what Aiden did, shoots up onto the inside. And keeps in the line nice and tight, and there it is. Lavis takes the safer option, puts on the brakes, and they both live to fight another day. And these are latest in Radical or Legacy. These are the SR8. So the SR10 is the newest one. However, it was sort of agreed upon that the SR8 produces a little bit better racing and it's a little more fun to drive. And thus that's why the club decided to go with this variant. And I, for one, agree. I actually quite like the SR10. However, the SR8 does have a more raw mechanical feel to it, and so I understand why they've done that.
Plus, it's free.
That's
free
correct.
Is good.
Yes, it is also free, so that is true. So the time is dwindling down. We are now at the 5-minute mark, or 4 minutes. 4 minutes 15, if you want to be specific. And Alex Court gets a really good exit. Coming out of that corner, he is right there. Now, is it too early to make a move? It does seem like he doesn't want to pull the trigger just yet. Yeah, he is content to sit back. I can see the cogs turning, and I can understand where he's trying to go, but this could actually backfire fantastically if he's not careful, because if Schweikart is managing his pace, he could just pull out a surprise on the last lap, and Court will not be able to catch. And I don't know if maybe he heard me, because he is attacking around the outside. He falls back in line, going through turn 1, and then he looks to the inside again. And he's making it very difficult. Let's have a look here. No, he's behind. So for now, just maintaining the gap there. But he is following very, very closely. This is fantastic. Watch, most people will get affected by the aero wash on some of these corners. But Alex Court is doing a fantastic job with this SR8. And it truly is a 2-horse race at the front, as Brett Barker sets another fastest lap in P8, 1:14.437. Down the back straight again. And it truly seems like he doesn't want to make the move just yet. Probably knows the vulnerability that you can get being at the front on this long back stretch. So it looks like there'll be at least another 2 laps. Chris Court carrying aero damage, not worth to lead as he can't run. Let's keep, yeah, that's correct, yes. So you can see it just on the front left there. There's a bit of aero damage, so that would affect him on the top end. Marco overtakes Donnelly there for P7. And going back and forth. We'll cut back and have a look at this. So they come through that elongated chicane section. Brett Barker is behind. Seems like it's on edge. He drove it to perfection in the first race, but in the second one, he's had a couple of mistakes here and there. Hasn't affected his pace at all. Holds the fastest lap. Another close battle in brewing behind as well. Wellman on John Baldwin. Brett Barker's looking, usually you don't overtake through here. He says, screw that. Oh, but he can't stay ahead. Here we go. So it is a proper fight between these two. I believe there'll be white flag next time by. So there it is. There's the white flag. Aiden holds that inside line. Alex tries to go around the outside. He might be able to switch back as they come up to the hill. It's risky, but it's possible. And Aiden is still ahead as they come through. Brett Barker will overtake for P7 during all this. But this is for the lead and the win of the race. So we'll see what happens. Aiden has to be mindful as they come through this section that he will be under attack on the back stretch. Now, what works better? Should he try and relinquish through this section in order to get the draft? He doesn't. So right now, he's going to hope that he can maintain the speed, but unfortunately, I don't think that's how that works. Here we go. On board with Alex Court. Keep an eye on that rev limit and also listen to the engine roar. Court's going to go this time round. I've got no choice. I'm going to try and go around the outside. We'll see if he can hold that line. Aiden will have to take a tighter arc, but he can make it work if he doesn't lock the car up. That is excellent. Goes down on the inside, brakes a little later, and will maintain position. Alex Court will try and keep the speed as they come to the line. There's nowhere for him to go. Aiden plays this magnificently and will take the win. Oh, and that was a fantastic drive from Aiden Schweikart to hold him off. I thought that might be the case. As they were driving down, I thought that Alex might get caught out, and Aiden defended well. He allowed him to take the outside line going down into turn 10. He keeps the brakes, manages to brake later, doesn't lock the car up, maintains the speed, and comes out in the lead through turn 10B, and runs it all the way to the line. You should be proud, sir. That was a fantastic drive.
Really smart taking the inside as well there. He knows the overlap rules to a T and, knew that was the better line even though it was compromised for exit. So, well done.
That's exactly right. We'll go back and just have a look at that very quickly as well. So, Alex Court will go. Now, watch this. He goes to the outside. Now, this is where this gets really smart from Schweikart's position. So, as they come down towards that line, Aiden maintains that gap and he quite aggressively attacks this, knows that this doesn't count as an off track. He can go very hard there and just maintains the speed. So Alex had no way of defending that. Alex tried to make a move here, but Aiden just parked his car, which he is allowed to do in the middle of the track, and takes the win because of it. That was an excellent drive from both parties, I might add. Alex Court really did put his feet to the fire for that entire race, but just came up short at the end there. All right, so that is our second race for the DFL Legends done and dusted, and it is Schweikart who takes the honours with a 0.059 gap. Winning is winning, no matter the time difference. Alex Court in P2, Guy Leach in P3, David Christensen in P4, Stuart Ellis in P5, Adam Lavis, Brett Barker, Kate Donnelly, Troy Davidson, and John Baldwin round out our top 10. And we have Wellman, Maxfield, Adam Proctor, Wayne Visser, Philip Butler, Sean Reese, Michael Latta, Philip Howe, Russ Green, Dave Oliver, and I believe there was one more in the back, but I don't think they started, and that's Dean Logsdale. They didn't start the race. Oh boy. Well, it was an eventful two races, but one that did not work in Brett Barker's favour. Ended up getting a really, really good start to this series. But then a couple of mistakes in that second one, ended up finishing down in P7. It's okay points, but I'm not sure how it will all calculate. I don't know if... Oh, it does say that the points are ready. So I'm curious if I can try and grab this. There's the carnage that happened at the front there. Do we have final points here? No, I don't think so. I believe that was the points that we think. So I'll keep an eye on that and see if I can give you a final points tally. Might have to leave the server for that to enact. I'm not too sure exactly how it is that iRacing comes up with those calculations, but that's okay. We will go to driver interviews. We've got a couple of people in here. So what I will do is I will start with our race winner, Aiden Schweikart. Mate, that was an excellent drive. You made a couple of mistakes, and Alex managed to get past you in the mid part of the race. But you managed to take it back, and then it all came down to the last handful of laps, and you did a fantastic bunch of moves to stay ahead and take the win. Talk us.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a tough one with Alex right behind me that whole race. But, he was very patient, which surprised me a bit, but him just being up there the whole time, yeah, I did make a couple, and there was just a big one that Alex was able to get through on. But I got past a couple laps later, just being able to stay in his toe. And again, he was just patient for the rest of the race. I kept thinking he was going to make a move, but he backed off every time until that last lap where it was all or nothing. But it was very close.
Definitely, it was a great race for both of you. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to hold you there for a second. I'm going to bring in Alex. Alex, I had a theory, see if I'm right here. So throughout that later half of the race, we saw you very, very close to Aiden going down that back stretch. And like Aiden said, you didn't make the move. We expected you, but you didn't. Now, Starkey in the chat mentioned that you had aero damage, and the theory there was that you didn't want to overtake because you knew you didn't have the top end speed to maintain the lead. Is that what happened, or did you have a different approach?
Yeah, look, first of all, credit to Aiden. He drove very, very well. As for the back straight there, I wasn't aware I had any damage, but the reason I didn't make the move was Aiden was actually, I felt he was quicker out of that last chicane. So I was just waiting for the last lap to make the move.
No, that's fair enough. So yeah, I thought that that's exactly what you were trying to do. I thought that being in the lead on that back straight isn't advantageous usually, because obviously you're not getting a draft the car behind you is. So that's in my head. I was thinking, no, he's being patient. He's going to wait till that last lap and make that attack. But where it really did break down is, as you guys were coming up to that final chicane section, Aiden just managed to keep that inside line, and he had enough of a space where he didn't really have to sacrifice that much speed. He got that inside line, got a better exit, and then where he was smart, and which I think may have annoyed you a little bit, it is racing, he just parked that car in the center of the track. I saw you try to dive left and dive right, trying to get him. He just couldn't get past.
No, look, he raced very well. Yeah, it was good fun. This is actually my first race in GSRC, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I thought your name was newer, but I wasn't too sure. But anyway, if that's a first race, that's a fantastic race to go on. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you in many more.
Yeah, doing GT4s up next to Bathurst, so
excellent.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Love that place, so hopefully get another podium. I
do as well. The GT4s will be a cracker race, I am sure. Aiden, just before I move on to other people, is there anyone that you'd like to thank tonight?
My sponsors, EMC Trailers, GNL Motor Repairs and Performance, Link Airways, and Jeremy Cross, and just my parents for letting me do this.
Awesome, mate. That's fantastic. Look, we were saying it during the broadcast. You've evolved quite well in the racing scene here at the GSRC, and we can't wait to see how much more performance you can gain throughout the rest of the seasons. Have a good one, mate.
Thank you. You too.
All right, so we'll jump on with another Stuart Ellis, finishing in P5 on that race. Stuart, I saw you go through. I didn't see you actually. It was pointed out by one of the people in chat. It seems as though you had a jump start in that second race.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, winning the championship, all I needed was a clean race, and so I jumped the start. The last one made life difficult for myself. So yeah, I had to drive the wheels off it to try and catch up to Guy as much as I could in that last race. Hang in there for points.
Well, I just checked, and it has been updated. And we can say that you did take the championship, so you ended up with 406 points to round that out, and Guy Leach was there with 393. So it's a close gap there, but at least it's a nice little buffer, and that jump start didn't hamper you too much.
No, well, I did my best to give it away, that's for sure. But it's been a great season. The guys are great to race with. It's been tight with Guy the whole way. The last few races, Brett and Aiden have been absolutely flying. It's been really good racing. Really enjoyed racing these boys every week.
And it's been great to watch. I'll be honest, these cars are really, really good to see going, zooming around. And there's been a lot of chaos in all of that. But within that chaos, there's also been some stellar racing. So I'm glad to see that you've taken that out, and so you can put that against your name.
Yeah, thank you. It's been good fun. I think I just got a bit lucky and avoided more carnage than everybody else in the end.
That's it. Look, they say slow and steady wins the race. I don't know about that first one, but steady definitely comes into it. And you've done a good job there. And I'll go from you to Guy Leach, who is the runner-up. Second's not that bad, mate. You had a cracker first race, and in the second race, you sort of did much of the same. Everyone else, so Brett Barker, of course, got caught up in some early stuff. Stuart Ellis with the jump, but you managed to keep it up there. So it wasn't like a crazy stellar performance from you tonight, but it was the consistency that showed through.
Yeah, it was funny. I saw Stuart roll, and I got all excited, and then I spun my wheels up, so I lost a bit off the start there. But and then I got tangled up with Brett, and I lost the toe. But really good drive by Stuart. I saw how far down he was, and I thought, well, it might be a sneaky chance here. But he was just carving through the pack. So well done. But, no, it's been good fun. I had a bit of a shocker last week, and I think that hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to the best of us, doesn't it? The only thing that's kind of unfortunate was once everybody got off the line and the race started to develop, man, Aiden and Alex just left you. And so unfortunately, there was nobody for you to kind of race. If you had stayed up there with them, maybe you could have got P2 and getting some extra points. But yeah, they just left, and you were like, well, all right, I'll just drive my best here on my own. Because I think the gap between you and... At one point, it was like 12 seconds between you and whoever it was in fourth. I think the way it finishes here is 3.8 to David Christensen, but I'm sure I saw like a 12 or 13 second gap. So you were really like out there on your own.
Yeah, by the time I got up into third, I think it was about 4 or 5 seconds to the two up front. So I pushed really hard for a few laps, and then I had a couple of scares. So I just backed it off a little bit and settled. So and then just was watching my Joel timing screen to see how far up Stuart could get.
Well, yeah, you will take second place honours with a decent margin, I might say, too. So 393 from you, and Brett Barker was in P3 with 329. So there was really no threat from the back. Unfortunately, just falling short of that top step. But there's still another season coming ahead, so hopefully you get better luck on the next one.
Yeah, no, it's been really good fun racing the guys. Like Stuart said, everyone's pretty respectful, and it's hard racing but fair. So looking forward to next season.
As are we. It should be a good one. Thank you very much for talking to us, mate. We'll let you go. Alrighty, well, we still have some time until the GT4s take to the Mount Panorama circuit for their finale. That is 60 minutes, an enduro round at the Blessed Mountain to wrap us out for Wednesday night. We're going to take a short break here at the GSRC, and on the other side of this, we'll be live from Mount Panorama to bring you the GT4. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Came back for a short break here, and we are now live from Mount Panorama in Bathurst, New South Wales, to bring you the final round of the GT4 of the Orbic GT4 series here at the GSRC. Should be a good one tonight. 60 minutes around this fantastic circuit, and in the GT4 class, which should provide some really good racing. It has throughout the course of the season, so I can't imagine that tonight will be any different. I am Daniel Correa, and we can just see these guys finishing qualifying at the moment. And we'll be able to get this underway. We'll have a look at the track information for you right now. So, Mount Panorama, 6.141 kilometers of circuit. Here in Bathurst. So 16 degrees, that is a cold day. What is that, 27 degrees temperature, track temperature. Nice clear skies. So we should be in for a great one. I believe that the championship is already decided. I think Trent Lavis has taken that one out with, I believe it's 424 points. Yes, it is. Jordan Malcolm on at 353 in P2, Gary Cousins with 344 in P3, and Michael Hammond with 312 in P4. I wonder if I've actually got the results ready to go here. There we are. So, Sam Chapman in P5 there, 311, Jared Knight 297, Adam Lavis 286, Dale Sharp 285 there in P8. So there's still some positions to be gained for the people on the lower half here. But as for Trent Lavis, I believe there is no way for Jordan Malcolm to take that top spot. And I believe Jordan Malcolm isn't even here tonight. So Trent will take that championship well and truly. So that is the end of qualifying, I believe. I think everyone is just wrapping up now. And then we'll be able to get underway. While we're doing so, I might actually just give a quick shout out to the people that make this possible. So we have Flash Graphics, M-Wave Australia, Login Systems, Orbic, who is our title sponsor here for the GT4s, Waste Options, Lobesy Racing, Player One Sim Gear, and Pure Tasmanian Sprayton Non-Alcoholic Cider. So there we are, the server has kicked over. We are ready to get this underway. So there is the grid for tonight's 60-minute race here around the mountain. Trent Lavis starts in pole with a 211.7. He takes the top spot and starts from the front of the grid. Glenn Riddell in P2. Mikey Hammond and Richard King in the second row. Trent Allen and Gary Cousins in the third. Russ Green and Tim Harris in the fourth row. And Sam Chapman and Nick Ferdiatis in the fifth. Moving across the page, David Baz, Paul Wood, Matt Schmidtke and Adam Lavis there in P14. Dale Sharp, Greg Brooks, David Christensen, Bevan Moyes, Alex Court and Rob McGrath in 20th spot. And we also have Oliver Patterson, Sean McClure, Kate Donnelly, Gary Wellman, Greg Colgan, Philip Butler, I believe Jason Tyman at the back of the grid. So it'll be a rolling start here for our GT4 drivers. Cut over there. Jared Knight, MIA tonight. Looking forward to this. Yes, sorry to not see you on the grid there, but you are right. It should be a cracker of a race. I mean, it's Mount Panorama. Everybody knows how biased I am towards it, but I honestly believe it is the greatest racetrack on the face of the planet. And nothing's going to sway that from me. And to everyone who is watching, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you have enjoyed the night so far. Just wait for this to get underway. Look at that. Nice procession of cars, 2x2. Just waiting behind the pace car so we can get this started. Of course, only a final sector formation lap. So Trent is not in his normal car, I just noticed. He is in the Merc. So he has decided to test something else for the... which he can do, right? Because if he's already wrapped it up, the half points don't matter. So, in terms of the commentary box, I am by myself. However, Josh Swino is sitting in race control, so we can cut over to him if we need to throughout the rest of the race. Jeff Adams there. Let's go Ramrod. That's right, Jeff. You would normally be competing, but I believe you are in the midst of moving locations. So that would be why you're not here. But your teammate Richard King will do the honours. Currently P4. So we'll see where he finishes up at the end of this race. So remember, 60 minutes is what we are in for. It is an enduro round, as we usually do here at the mountain. And it's not only the drivers themselves that fight with each other, but it is the track that they will have to contend with. She takes no prisoners. That's one of the things that we love about her. So here we go, around the final corner. Trent Lavis will lead this pack of 27 to the line. A little bit of a bump there. You can see him go, and I believe it is green flag. That is confirmed. There it is flying, and Trent Lavis leads the field as they move down towards turn 1, the infamous hell corner. And so far, we are seeing a very clean procession through that first turn. As they all move up Mountain Straight. Dale Sharp just behind Greg Brooks there. Move up to the front. Hammer Time Hammond. Just tucking in behind Lavis there as they move through Griffin's Bend up towards the cutting. Oh, and they're side by side at the back there. But the team's nice and civilized. That's actually Alex Court there in PAT trying to shoot up. There's a little bit of argy-bargy, but Alex manages to keep that inside line. Look at that. That is respect. Side by side through the cutting. Not something you usually see. And Christensen's not going to let him have that for free. They fight, but Court will stay ahead. So P17 goes to the man in the puzzle Mercedes. I believe that's for the Autism Speaks. And everybody right now is following great. I really did expect to see an incident, but there hasn't been one. There is one car that has dropped back, though. That is Bevan Moyes. Down there in P25, side by side now for Lavis. Oh, and that's... Oh, who is that? I believe that's Russ Green. And it is. I wonder if he just got caught out. We'll jump on board with him and see what it is that happened. He went to the side there of Lavis. And, yep, just went a little too hot down into there. Hits Forrest Elbow. And luckily just gets out of the way. But that is some damage on the back of that car. I'm sure the front won't look too pretty either. So a rough start for him, down 18 positions now. As we jump back live with Tim Harris in the amazingly beige BMW. As David Baz and Nick Fodiatis go down too, is that? Looks like both of them have a little bit of an off. Yeah. Fodiatis in that Porsche. So, looks like David Baz. Oh, just nicking the back. Not too bad, but it does spin him round. And David Baz doing the honourable thing and waiting for Nick Fodiatis to join. We'd love to see that. Very gentlemanly. Costs him a ton of positions, but it's the respect that counts. So they will join to the back of that grid. As we jump back a couple here. P14, Alex Court looking on the inside, trying to get Matt Schmidtke. He has the ideal line. Schmidtke's going to have to back off, otherwise he'll get fed into the pedigree wall. And that is another victim there. Well, Alex Court moves up to P13, and it looks like McGrath. Oh, no, it's Del Sharp, sorry. Trying to shoot up there. And McGrath. Schmidtke losing a ton of positions now. Even Donnelly manages to get up there as well. So, wow, Schmidtke really, truly got mugged that entire procession. We'll fall back in line, P16, just in front of Christensen. Relatively speaking, a nice, clean race at the moment. And I mean, why wouldn't it be? You've got 60 minutes on that clock. There's no need to go crazy right at the start. Moving up the grid now. On board with Gary Cousins in P4. And you see race control, 5-second penalty for Timothy Harris for passing under yellow with Trent Lavis on lap 1. So, I believe it was that during the incident with Fodiatis?
No, I believe that was is it Jeff Adams? No, I can't remember. Sorry, it was down into the elbow when
Russ
someone
Green
just went
in the Merc.
Yep,
Yep,
Russ,
yep,
Russ
yep.
went around,
Yep.
and then Timothy threw it on the inside, mate. So got to swap those positions in the time charts.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. No, it is under yellow flag condition. Sometimes you do get caught up in the heat of the moment. You don't pay attention, but it is something that the GSRC have been trying to drill into our drivers' heads, which is you must obey by yellow flag conditions, and one of those conditions is no overtaking on track in the yellow sector. So an unfortunate one there for Tim Harris. Lap 3 now, on board with Adam Lavis, who just pips Sam Chapman there, P9. As Greg Brooks is side by side with Sam Chapman. Sam Chapman with the ideal line, and he swerves out to maintain that racing line. That is a striking livery from Greg Brooks. I love it. I love the colours. That's fantastic there. Nice Tractix racing. Nice and sharp. There's Fodiatis at the back there. Trying to get on the inside of McClure through the cutting. Didn't quite work. So just have to slot back in line as they move through the top of the mountain. Top of the mountain, very famously a one-line area. But if you're brave enough and fast enough, there's nothing to say you can't overtake. But usually it doesn't work out for you. So most people will leave it to either Conrod Straight, Mountain Straight, or sometimes on the approach to the cutting. And others into Forest Elbow as well. If you can get a decent line down the inside, you can usually block out the driver on your outside and make that work, which I'm sure we'll see plenty of over the course of the race. So Mikey Hammond in the lead, Glenn Riddell in P2, replaced by Richard King P3, Cousins in P4, and then Trent Allen, who we are on board with, gets quite sideways coming down into the braking zone there. Luckily, he keeps on it, so nothing too crazy. Here's Sam Chapman looking to make a move on Adam Lavis. Peek down the inside. Nope. No, plays it nice and sensible. Hammond with the fastest lap of the race so far, 2:13.445. Schmidtke down in P16 as well, holding off Christensen. So some close battles happening. Use of the camber there. Lavis got a pretty poor exit. Sam Chapman's going to look at the outside. It might work, it might not. Lavis will have the advantage. He'll block off the inside line. Greg Brooks will just sit back and watch. Nothing too crazy. But that also means that Lavis will not have the speed going through the top of the mountain. So Chapman will be ahead in that respect. Not that there's many overtaking opportunities in this sector, so he'll try and probably keep as close as possible down through the S's. Possibly make an attack there at the elbow. See that front left getting off the track. Looks cool on a camera, but you don't get the turn in that you might want, so you do have to be quite careful there. Jeff Adams asking, how did Trent drop 6 places? That would be due to Russ Green having a moment coming into the elbow.
No, I actually believe it was an unforced error down Skyline. He came into the final braking session, the left-hander before you head into the dipper, and he just came in a little bit hot and clipped the inside of the dipper, and yeah, rest is history. Lap 1 if you can find that one.
Let's see. So this is the start. So they trade back and forth, so that won't be it. So there's Trent Lavis. Oh, you're right. That's a big hit. How did that not show up in the event log as a crash? I did not notice that that was the case at the start. I thought he just got caught up in this. But no. That was actually a lead at the back. That was a massive whack.
Yeah, it does look like he's carrying a fair bit of damage as well. Looking at his pace deficit, last lap being a 13.997, and Trent managed an 11.7 in quali. So, yes, a little bit of time deficit there.
A couple of incidents as well here. So this is David Christensen coming up to turn 1. And hits that curb. Let's see. Ooh, just avoiding. Not bad. Managed to avoid the chaos. And I believe that'll be Cade Donnelly. Yeah, bit too much hook. Tried to catch a slide. Bang. Another wall.
Absolutely weird to see a crash like that with the new grass model. You don't expect to see people losing control when they dip a couple of wheels off these days.
It is true. There's a saviour for those, especially in enduro racing. God, can't even tell you how many times I got caught out by just a little bit of slippage on the grass going into a corner and just ruining an entire enduro. It's very nice to not have that happen anymore. But it also sucks not being able to do the Bathurst jump. So you win some, you dim some. David Baz is down. Sean McClure will shoot up on the inside, get tapped slightly on the back. Sean was not appreciative of the move. And David Christensen now looking for... sorry, that's Nick Fodiatis. Trying to go... Don't go too far out. Nick Fodiatis, horribly unlucky. In terms of incidents as well, just getting caught up in some of the silliest stuff. But this time round, he comes out okay and will take the position from McClure. And it looks like Bevan Moyes as well. So not a great day at the office for that, Aston Martin. He will drop down 3 positions into P20. And Fodiatis now will look for the attack on David Baz, going up towards Griffin's Bend. David will hold the inside line here, using the camber to his advantage, and does well to squeeze him right to the track. Here we go. Does he have the grip? Yes, he does. Nice and easy. Up to P10 now. Greg Brooks chasing down Adam Lavis. Two Aston Martins. One belonging to Bailey Ladders entry. Now that's Tractix Racing. Lavis doing a good job so far. 5 positions gained from the start. Greg Brooks 6. So everyone now settling into a groove as we hit 13 minutes on the clock. See some smoke there in Forest Elbow. Someone's gone in hot. Mikey Hammond in the lead of this race as we see race control. 10-second penalty for David Baz for a late dive with contact with Sean McClure. So that was what we saw earlier on. And then got a return serve from McClure, which is a slight tap on the bum. And Lavis into the pits. Is that Trent? It is. Maybe Trent in the pits. You can see that Mercedes of his on the right. And, of course, Cade Donnelly with that incident as well. And that's Sam Chapman at the back there also coming into the pit. So an early pit stop there. Greg Brooks looking to the inside. Didn't quite work, though. Adam Lavis will stay on P8.
So both Sam and Trent carrying a bit of damage there. Dare I say they're coming in to swap out for their one new chassis. Okay, just trying to hit their minimum fuel to make it without an extra stop, I'm guessing.
So David Baz, drag racing Fodiatis towards turn 2. And we can see Moyes in the back there as well, waiting to jump. So Photiadis might just lose out twice here. He does. Ends up on the outside of the camber. So boys will go down the inside, and David Baz will maintain P15. And McClure now looking to the inside as well. And that's contact. That's not ideal. And I saw that developing. Is Photiadis okay to continue? Not too sure. So right there's the contact. That's a rough one to judge. Let's see. Sean didn't really change his line, but I'll let race control have a look at that one. And it looks like Alex Court also with an incident. Oh! If he keeps this out of the wall. No, spoke too soon. Wow, that's huge. Oh, hold the brakes, please. Yes, he does. Just off the racing surface. Not bad. Interesting that he chose to turn that way. Okay, takes the long way. It would have just... Oh, and hits the wall again. Not ideal. 15-second penalty for Sean McClure. Racing room with Nick Photiadis on lap 7. So just give us a rundown there on your thought process for that one.
Yeah, all right. It's pretty straightforward incident here. At the point of turn-in, there was never any overlap that was worth noting. And there was only one way that situation was going to turn out if you stick a fly sheet of a nose up there, mate. And, yeah, pit maneuvered Nick, and that's Nick's race done.
Right, so, yeah, Nick, did he tow? I don't think he towed. I think he continued on. But, yeah, that's crazy now. He's obviously dropped all the way to P22. It's unfortunate, not something we want to see. But McClure's nosed a bit too hard. David Baz not taking the ideal line, gets washed out. And Bevan Moyes in the BMW gains a position. 14th now on the grid. There's Greg Brooks now, closer and closer. Adam Lavis maintaining the gap there, 3/10 to the car ahead. Mikey Hammond still leading this race. Glenn Riddell, close second. Richard King there in P3. Trent Allen in P4. Gary Cousins, P5. So there goes Riddell in the McLaren. And he's just lifting there, so doesn't want to look at the overtaking opportunity thus far. Nice and easy on the throttle. The gaps are starting to extend now across most of excuse me. Our drivers here, Schmidtke and Christensen trade places. 10 and P12. And it looks like Richard King has decided to come into the pits as well. So he'll lose a bunch. As Tim Harris is now chasing Gary Cousins for P4. Time there to Gary through that braking zone. Curious to see if he'll gain any more time here through the cutting. Where does the Porsche choose to brake? There we are. Yeah, there's a big entry speed difference there, but the exits on par. Bit of blinking. Unfortunate there for Tim. Hopefully that doesn't cause him any damage. So that one is the closest battle on track at the moment. We have some pit stops that have been resolved. Now those gaps are really starting to break out. Nobody within the 5/10. Scratch that. Harris just dipping as well as Riddell with that draft down towards the chase. And of course, pit strategy will have a lot to do in this race. You wouldn't expect to see a lot of people pit now, but at least half the, no, just under half the field have done so. We have 4 cars that are out of this race. That is Alex Court, Gary Wellman, Kate Donnelly, and Russ Green. They are not competing in this one anymore. So we are down to 21 drivers, as that is Cousins coming into the pits. So Tim Harris will go by, take one more lap around. As Cousins comes in.
Really interesting to see what Lobesy can do with some clean air. He's got some new wheels, some new chassis, and he's punched out the fastest lap last lap. So let's see what we can do. He's first of the pitters at the moment, so keep our eyes on that.
2:12.99 was the previous lap. He's crossing the line now. Was there any improvement on that? Yes, 2:12.818. So in the clean air, he is a rocket ship. Currently getting chased down by Richard King in the McLaren. And so we'll see how this resolves. 21 minutes down from 60 total. And Mikey Hammond is still in the lead of the race. Close battle between himself and Riddell. There at the front, 2.5 seconds further back, that is Trent Allen. Kind of in a race of his own. Tim Harris as well. P4, and of course Paul Wood 5 seconds back from them. So big gaps forming. I have to admit, Trent really does make that Mercedes dance across the top of the mountain. It's fun to see. Usually you see that thing just lunkering around, but he's doing well. I know there was a bit of discussion in the GT4s due to the BOP that we apply here at the GSRC. Some mentioning that the weight penalty is a little too heavy, a little too much from the Mercedes. So Mikey Hammond has come into the pits. Glenn Riddell has not. He will stay out, so he will take the lead of the race thus far. See David Baz chasing down Bevan Moyes. Christensen also making an attack on McGrath, but I believe McGrath has come into the pit, so that'll just be him overtaking on track. Actually, McGrath and Schmidtke going back, so McGrath, yep, coming into the pits there as well. So Schmidtke up into P5 now.
This is going to be close. Trent's done it with the undercut.
So Trent Lavis exits out 1.8 seconds ahead of Mikey Hammond. So currently effective leader of the race. David Baz looks to the inside, going into Griffin's Bend. He keeps the ideal line. And a great move up into P6 for him. And the fight is on. You can see a bright green Mercedes at the back there. That is Trent Lavis chasing them down. 4 seconds is the gap.
So I'm not too sure on... Oh, sorry, Dan. Not too sure what the burn is on this one, but there was 4 laps deficit. So dare I say the fuel load that went into Mikey's car was probably worth around 3.5 to 5 seconds difference. So Trent's going to have to pull his finger out to get that gap out before the next pit stop.
Well, Trent is the only car on track that is in the 2.12, or the 2:12, I should say, minute times. Everyone else is in the 13s or 14s. So at the current pace, he might be able to do so, but we'll see what Mikey Hammond's push laps are like now that he's done his first pit stop. So Schmidtke here in P5, just following. Christensen ahead. As Glenn Riddell, Tim Harris and Paul Wood all in the pits. And both Christensen and Schmidtke also choose to do the same. So David Baz will be able to rocket past, I believe, unless he decides to come in now as well, which he does. And Bevan Moyes. So that means your effective leader, or your leader outright, is going to be Trent Lavis once this is all resolved. There's Glenn Riddell. And is still getting a bit done. There's Hammer Time Hammond. So, without a doubt, Trent Lavis in the lead of the race and also set to fastest lap yet again, a 2:12.56. And Riddell is going to exit just behind Richard King there. Battle of the McLarens. And it looks like King will stay ahead for now. And again, plenty of race still to go. Trent Allen side by side here with Gary Cousins, and he'll come ahead. P6 for him. Oh, as Tim Harris goes well wide, but keeps it out of the wall. And look at Oliver Patterson down here as well, side by side with Schmidtke as he comes out of the pits. Oliver Patterson rocking the Race Labs livery. Well done in the braking zone. We'll keep that camber. Nice and true. Wide exit. Beautiful. P14. So everybody on the circuit has done at least one pit transit. I believe there will be another to come yet. I don't think they can go to the end from here. Schmidtke trying to close up the gap here to Patterson. You look at the previous laps. So Schmidtke was faster, lap 7, 10, and 11. There was a chance. But the draft will be significant coming down towards the chase. There's also McGrath just lurking behind. Hoping for a chance to pounce. It's Adam Lavis here, P11. So Greg Brooks is ahead of him now. The overcut not working for Lavis. Getting one lap later. Allen in a good draft towards Griffin's Bend. Tim Harris took this well wide last time round. A lot more calculated this time. Very tight line there for the Aston Martin. That was an excellent exit. Ooh, just nipping the inside wall there. Hopefully no crazy damage. And it seems as though Gary Cousins is getting left behind now. 1.3 seconds the gap. Down through the S's. Nice and easy. Towards Forest Elbow, down the hill, on the brakes, down shifting, nice and tight on the inside, extending out, leaving little to no gap to the outside of that corner, and now rocketing down Conrod straight towards the chase. And we'll see just how much time he can gain following behind this BMW, where the exit did not look too great for the Aston Martin. So Tim Harris in no threat right now. So we are coming up to the halfway mark here at Mount Panorama. The Orbic GT4 Challenge. Final round for the season. And again, we have confirmed that Trent Lavis takes the win regardless. So he takes the season outright. Having said that, he is in the lead of this race. So we'll see if he can win yet another on his belt. Adam Lavis, P11, still chasing down Greg Brooks. Brooks doing a really good job to hold green, liveried Aston Martin at bay. It's Dale Sharp, 1.8 seconds down the road, but he is closing the gap. Glenn Riddell, still behind Richard King, but boy is he closing this gap at a rate of knots. Two McLarens, they should be on par in terms of spec. Slight change in the setup, most likely. Oh, I see smoke going into the dipper. It's been back and forth here. Quite even on pace coming out of the pit stops there, 0.080. The difference between King and Riddell. Trent Lavis with a very decent gap at the front there, 4.6 seconds. So right now he's racing by himself, so even though he had that early accident, right, it's working well for him so far. But as Josh mentioned, he will have to maintain the pace in order to make it back on the pit stops at the later end of the race.
Tell you what, though, you give that man a challenge and he stands up straight away. I don't know if you can jump on to see the battle for first there, the time differences, but Mikey is consistently the second quickest man on track, and it's an absolute show that Trent's putting on, just banging out 12.6, 12.6, 12.9. Phenomenal drive so far.
Yeah, 4/10, 4/10, 6/10. Lower is Hammond in the last 3 laps. And so, not sure if maybe the Mercedes just suits, or I should say if the track suits the Mercedes, but he's putting some of those challenges to rest. Seems as though it's not hampering, that weight penalty isn't hampering him throughout the course of this race. Maybe it's just Trent. Like one of those things, it's like most people are like, oh, I don't know how to make this car fast, and then she goes, this is how you do it. Maybe Trent is one of those people as well.
I will say we did go-karting about a month and a half back, and I'm not the largest fella, but nor's Trent, as I'm about to tell this story, but he's definitely got 30 to 40 kegs on me. And yeah, I definitely couldn't keep up with him. By the time the third race got round, he was gone. So with that handicap, he even managed to, yeah, run away from me. Very quick driver.
Yeah, that used to be my winning factor when I was doing go-kart racing. I was a bit bigger than most of the other people that were going, but I would just attack the corners harder. And yeah, people were just in awe. They're like, how the hell is this big bloke flying down the track? And I'm like, it's because I very rarely use the left pedal.
Momentum is my friend.
That is correct, especially in go-karts. However, having said that, I also did manage to snap the front left axle on a go-kart and do a complete 180. In heavy traffic. That was a puckering moment. I was about 2.5 inches taller in the seat after that. And then the place had the gall to say, what did I do wrong? How do you actively break an axle like that? It was the go-kart's fault, not me. Maybe I took too many curbs, I don't know. So Alan here, still chasing down Tim Harris. He's doing well to close up the gap. Just hasn't been able to make a move thus far. So now might be an opportune moment. Here we go. Coming out of the exit. No, doesn't quite have the speed differential, so he will have to stay behind. But Tim Harris is getting awfully close to these exits. They do say use all of the track, but ideally you don't want to use the vertical bits of the track. It's the horizontal bits. Case doing well to follow him over the top of the mountain. 35 minutes in, Trent Lavis with a 5.7 second gap. Just got a fan in the chat there for Brooksy, telling him to send it. Send it he should. Down at P10 at the moment. 3.1 seconds back from Paul Wood. Oh, Trent Allen went too deep. Just nudges the side there, and he's going to hit the exit as well. That may be bent steering. I'm not too sure. If we have a look in car, the steering wheel seems relatively straight. He's just going side to side to check it. And it looks like it might be a little right hand down. That was a significant whack into the side. Move forward, so that will be a little bit of respite there for Tim Harris. There's Glenn Riddell still chasing the back of the ramrod entry of Richard King as Trent Lavis sets another fastest lap. A 2:12.381 there from the Mercedes, a 2:13.2 from Mikey Hammond, and 2:14s from King and Riddell. It seems as though Glenn doesn't really get much of a slipstream down towards turn 2. Maybe just got a little bit more clicks on the aero, better cornering. John Merritt in the chat there, send it Cedar. I agree, he should. And I'm sure he will towards the later half of the race, but there's no point in risking something this early. Just keep it nice and clean. Make your advances at the back end. But Jesus Christ, Trent Lavis still flying 6 seconds now the gap. He is well and truly away at the front end of this race. So it's almost a second gap a lap between P1 and 2.
Oof, 12.3 last lap. That is phenomenal.
So here we go. Glenn Riddell actually had a really decent exit coming out of Forest Elbow. Let's have a look. Also yeeting the macro around here is Giga Brave. There we go. That's 75's getting bigger and bigger. Glenn Riddell looks on the inside. It's not the ideal. Oh! Did Richard King let him by? I think he might have. He decelerated a lot faster than I was expecting, so I think Kingy might have let him by without too much of a fuss. In any case, Riddell up into P3 now. King down one. Currently where he started, P4. As that's Trent Lavis into the pit lane there. So this will be to the end for sure. That'll be 20 minutes to go. So we're almost up to the 2/3 of this race.
So in about 4 laps time, we'll find out if he's done enough.
God forbid there's a massive accident. We get a safety car. But I don't think so. I haven't seen too many crazy out-of-step moments. So Hammond with a nice 3-second gap to the cars on your screen. That is Glenn Riddell and Richard King, P2 and 3 respectively. And then there's Tim Harris and Trent Allen just behind them as well. But just going to cut back here. Look at this. So that is Schmidtke David Baz close behind, but Robert McGrath has something to say about it. He's going to try and side draft the Porsche up towards turn 2. He's not close enough. Oh, they do come together, though. So David Baz just not aware how much overlap there was to the Mercedes alongside. Bevan Moyes is looking to try and take advantage of the chaos. Here we go, on board with the driver in question. Sharp EIT Tech 1 entry of the BMW. And I might be in the minority here, but I love how the BMW sounds. Not so much that screeching there, but the engine's good. Metal scraping noises are usually never great. And it seems as though he has just dropped a little bit of speed coming up through Reed Park and into McPhillamy. So we'll keep an eye on that gap there, but McGrath is right on the back of David Baz as we hit the 40-minute mark. So 2/3 of the race gone, 1/3 to go, 19 minutes and 30 seconds as Hammond comes into the pits. So Glenn Riddell decides to stay out, as too does Richard King. So there is Marky Hammond in the pits. And the man he's trying to fight, Trent Lavis, coming through. Now, based on the lap times we were seeing, I think he will have no issue. There's Lavis there just to the left, so I'll just wait to see when he takes off. There it is, coming out of the pit lane now. Whoa, it's going to be close. So Hammond comes into the pits and exits ahead. It's a good move, but Lavis is right there when we know that Lavis has the pace. So either Mikey Hammond was hiding something, and we're about to see it awaken in this last third of the race, or he's going to have to defend like a giant wall. The M4 sounds like a robot that's been smoking for 50 years. I like it too, and it's also fun to drive. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually. It just sounds like a sin. I'll give you that.
There you go, 6.2 seconds difference in the stop time between Trent and Mikey, so that's where that gap's come.
So Mikey Hammond, effective leader of this race, P10 at the moment. Trent Lavis pitting a lap earlier, coming back within 1 second. I expect to see this green rocket ship fly down Conrod Straight, and Mikey Hammond is going to be driving with one eye on the track and one eye on that mirror. And we should be in for a cracker in the last third of this race. Glenn Riddell still out on track in the lead, defending from Richard King there in P2. Curious to see when they will decide to come into the pits, whether it'll be this lap or the next. In any case, they will not be able to resolve in front of these two. Brody Artis just came out of the pits there. Unfortunately, he's down in P19 due to all that mess at the front end. And King has come into the pits, but Riddell stayed out. Look at the speed of the Merc. So down into the last turn. Nice and easy on the exit. There's Gary Cousins in the pit lane, as to Dale Sharp. So King will be resolving his pit stop shortly. You'll probably see him coming out of the pit lane momentarily. And there he is. But all eyes are on this fight right here. Trent Lavis bringing down the gap to Mikey Hammond ahead in the yellow Bailey Ladders entry. It really does seem that Mercedes is planted. I'd expect it to be way heavier coming through some of these corners, but I haven't seen it move a lot. So whatever he did in terms of setup or driving style, it's working great. And I mean, as is evident by the lap times that we're seeing, as we have a 5-second penalty there for Robert McGrath with contact on David Baz on lap 1.
Oh, I was meant to say lap 18.
I was going to say, I'm like, I'm sure that was that slight contact just before Griffin's Bend. So here we go. Trent Lavis has to make sure he gets a good exit here. And, God, that's something you don't want to see. That's a big green Merc. It's looking angry. They're going to be side by side. So Mikey can make this work, but he's got to be brave under braking when they get to the end there. No, never mind. That Merc is away with it. Well and truly in the lead, and it does not seem like the lap times will compare. So I think Trent Lavis might have this one in the bag. Glenn Riddell goes out for yet another lap. So he's deciding not to pit now.
The difference with the draft there, I'm pretty sure that Brent is actually running a higher downforce set than you typically would for Bathurst, just because he found a lot of comfort over the top. But yeah, he just flew up to Mikey then, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, got a weight penalty, but it doesn't, at least today, it doesn't seem like it. Bloody hell, he's flying in that thing. So Glenn Riddell in a race of his own, so like right now. 6 seconds to Trent Allen behind. I'm sure he'll come in the next couple of laps or so. The only other fight right now is Richard King in P7, chasing down Harris. In the beige BMW. Oh! Kept it well, though. Just a little too greedy on the right foot. Oh boy, he hopped over that. Yeah, I was just about to say, he hopped over that inside curb and luckily kept it out of the wall. So all that for nothing now. He'll drop back significantly to that BMW, so he's going to have to try harder again to catch up the gap. So that's Lavis to Hammond. 1 second the difference. 12.9 meets a 12.13. Or 2.12.9 meets a 2.13.9, I should say. A 2.9 would actually be ridiculous. As Trent Allen and Lavis both come in to the pit lane. Brown flag at Skyline. Yes, I agree. So Lavis that time round did a 2.12.8. Glenn Riddell did a 2.12.7. However, it's safe to say that Riddell would have lower fuel at the moment than the Mercedes. And of course, with every lap, means that he will have to fill up a bit more on the pit stop. I'm curious if Glenn Riddell is going for the mega fuel strat. Average pit lane transit time with these guys is about 50 seconds, so it's not 50 seconds ahead. So we'll lose out on that pit stop. But in any case, we'll see how it develops. Whoa, getting close as you want to the great. 49 minutes, 11 to go, 22 laps in. Trent Lavis had a shocking start, but he has well and truly made up for it thus far. Currently P2, getting chased down by Mikey Hammond, but it doesn't seem as though the Porsche has the legs at the moment.
I actually think it might be pretty close with Glenn. I think he's going to come out about 2 seconds behind the leaders at the moment, by my best guesstimations.
Well, we're about to find out. Glenn Riddell going through pit lane. So that noise you're hearing is the pit lane warner, or warning siren, I should say. And he will just chill through the pit lane until he hits his box and then get filled up. As Lavis is coming through the final part now, down towards Murray's Corner. Very curious to see where Riddell. So 21 seconds was the pit time for Lavis on that last go around. Riddell is at the 10-second mark. He is taking away. Oh, it's going to be close, but Lavis will get him. But I believe Riddell is going to be in front of Mikey Hammond. I take that back. He exits in front of Lavis, and now we've got a race. The only problem is he's got slightly colder tyres, having to transit through the pit lane. And Lavis is going to look on the outside. It's not the ideal line. He has to be heavy. He's got a heavier car. There is contact! Oh, there's contact between the two, but Riddell will hold on to the better line. He'll extend it out, and Lavis is round. He's kept it out of the wall, but he's lost the position. He's going to be very careful of the cars behind. Here comes Tim Harris, and there goes Richard King as well, and Lavis drops down to P5 with 9 minutes on the clock. So Lavis, yeah, just a little bit too much throttle on the exit. Got unsettled with the contact earlier on. Oh, that's not what you want to see, and it's going to take a hell of a drive to make that back, I don't think. With 9 minutes to go, he'll be able to make that work. But if you're Glenn Riddell, you kept your elbows out and it worked in your favour. And Mikey Hammond might be cheering because the gap differential between Riddell and Hammond is a lot lower than it was with Lavis. So we'll see if he can bring this back and potentially win. And I agree, that was unfortunate. It was on track for a good battle. And look, it was respectful. There was a bit of contact, but it was nothing crazy. But unfortunately, the camber in Griffin's Bend is a killer. And Lavis was just a little bit too far on the outside. And when he put his foot down, he didn't get the traction he wanted. Spun up those rear tyres and, yeah, went for a rotation. Kept it out of the wall, though. So luckily no damage, but ends up losing a ton of time and positions as well. Oh. Oh.
Yes, he had a hand, so didn't go around by himself, mate.
So was that contact in the middle of the corner?
Yeah, so that was the initial contact, which I deemed as a slight movement from car 64 up the straight. Nothing too much. Fired on, Rubbings Racing. But the contact mid-corner, you can visibly see Glenn releases a little bit off the brakes, enters the corner really probably about 5k an hour too quick, scrubs out, and because he scrubs out, he wasn't holding a tight enough line and took out the front end of Trent's car.
Fair enough. Well, that changes things. So Riddell with a 15-second penalty. So Mikey Hammond is pretty much in the clear as long as he doesn't bin it the rest of the race. Richard King very close to Tim Harris here, so he'll be having a fight of his own, trying to overtake that beige BMW. That BMW makes me feel weird things. I can't really put them into words, but it's weird. Really pushing the edge of track limits there. There's no grass or gravel. It's concrete barriers to tell you when you've gone too far. As Tim Harris is truly aware of. He's hit them a couple of times thus far. And Richard King with a really good entry into Forest Elbow. He's in the draft, but it doesn't seem to be doing too much for him at the moment. As You see that lumbering Mercedes catching up. So Trent Lavis will be seeing red in that visor. So 54.50. We're almost at 5 minutes left. A lap around here is 2:13. So 2 laps to go. Do we declare a winner? Riddell with that 15-second penalty looming. So Mikey Hammond is the effective leader. Tim Harris 8.7 seconds behind. I dare say that'll be an impossible task. But Richard King is looking to at least try and take that second spot. And Trent Lavis will be trying to take it from both of them as well. Plenty of time left for him to do that. But he does have to get a hurry on. Having said that, though, he is flying at 2.126. Was the last lap. Easily the fastest car on track. Well, 2 at the back here. P16, Oliver Patterson. Looked on the inside, chose not to. So Robert McGrath will stay, but he'll have the draft going up to Griffin's Bend. May as well play slot class. Can't pass around the outside of T2. You can. It's not advised. The camber definitely doesn't work in your favour, but let's have a look here. Oliver Patterson. And... oh, they slightly come together. That's not ideal. Well, I guess that's an example of how you don't do that. So it didn't work for Oliver's, in Oliver's case. But sometimes you can go around the outside, but you are right in the sense that you can't put your foot down. You can't put your foot down as much as you want to when you're going around the outside of turn 2. The road doesn't allow you to do that. It's definitely the inside line that you want. And Oliver might just try and overtake. Oh, well, no, never mind. He's trying to get the hurry up, though. Here we go. Through the S's into the dipper. Oh, that's a heavy overtake. Oh, and it did. It caught McGrath out bad. Not bad. It's quite good from the Vermilion entry there. Just showing the nose, keeping it well under brakes, and he has earned that P15 now for the Porsche. As we jump back to Richard King, who is closing the gap on Tim Harris. But unfortunately hasn't been able to make a move thus far. And Trent Lavis is lurking in the background. 1.25 is the gap between King and Lavis. P4 and 5. So Riddell has, if I'm not mistaken, he's got a back marker now to contend with. That'll be David Christensen in P19. Blue flags will be waving. It's not too much of a crazy incident here because, of course, Riddell does have the 15-second penalty. But that does slow him down enough so that King, Lavis, and Allen all come into the fray. This will allow Hammond to get a better draft, so I'm curious to see if Hammond can overtake on track. So here comes the McLaren. So King will be looking to the inside line. He goes deeper, deeper, deeper under brakes. Oh, he takes a lot of curb, but he makes it work up at a P3, sorry. Lavis now eyeing off the BMW. Takes a peek on the inside, takes a peek. Oh, wow, and look at that. Tim Harris, ever the gentleman, opens the door wide, wants to risk absolutely no contact there. So Lavis in P4, Richard King in P3, and there's the white flag from Barney. So we are on the last lap of the race here, and Hammer Time Hammond, side by side. He will go on the outside. Let's see how this works for him. Oh, and there's a nudge there to the back of the McLaren. There's a little bit of a wiggle. Mikey Hammond is leaving absolutely nothing to chance. I don't know if he knows he's got this in the bag or not, but he's racing as if it's on the line, so all the better for us, I suppose. A little wide coming on the skyline. Now down through the S's. Half the lap to go now. Depending on how deep he goes into the corner, he might be in for a decent attempt at an overtake at the bottom. 5/10 is the gap now. And here comes the draft. It is quite far back. So, there won't be an opportunity coming up. It'll be crossing
Still
him.
got that toe ball on the back as well, unfortunately, in that Hawker.
Sorry?
I see he's still got that toe ball attached on the back of that thing.
So here comes the checkered flag. And Glenn Riddell will cross the line. First on track, but unfortunately with that penalty, will drop back a significant amount. And here comes King and Lavis. P3 and 4. Tim Harris in P5. A decent race from all of these guys. And here comes Trent Allen to take the 6th position. Paul Wood and Gary Cousins. And Greg Brooks was looking to a shot on the inside. Chose not to. And to the line there. 0.04 was the difference. Ooh. Ooh, and they come together there. And Lavis will have to avoid. Sam Chapman in P11. Dale Sharp in P12. Bevan Moyes. Not an ideal race for him. Had a terrible start. He will come across in P13. 5 positions gained, though, from the start. So that is a win of some sorts. And Oliver Patterson, 6 positions gained with a couple of decent moves as well. He will come across in P15. Oof, that, jeez, took so much curb there at the end. And then, of course, Nick Fodiatis just making his way through the chase now. Another unfortunate one for him, getting caught up in some incidents at the early part of the race. Down 6 from where he started. But does cross the line in one piece. And we'll take P16. Is he going to get yelled at by the mechanic? Yeah, he lost a wing. I don't think those things are cheap. And there's just one more car out on track there. Sean McClure just limping around slowly. Which will then bring about the end of this race. So an unfortunate one there for Riddell. As it all finishes, let's see. 8, 9. So I believe he finishes P5. I think. Or P6. One of the two. So that is our Enduro and Grand Final done and dusted. Riddell crosses the line in first, but unfortunately with that 15-second penalty does get demoted. So he will finish P5, as Trent Allen was 15.346. So Mikey Hammond, Richard King, Trent Lavis, Tim Harris, Trent Allen, Paul Wood, Gary Cousins, Greg Brooks, and Adam Lavis in the top 10. Sam Chapman In P11, Dale Sharp. In P12, Evan Moyes, Matt Schminke, Oliver Patterson round out the 15. Nick Ferdiatis, David Christensen, Greg Colgan, Sean McClure, and Robert McGrath are your 20. If we go across the page, we also have David Baz, Alex Court, Gary Wellman, Kate Donnelly, Russ Green, Philip Butler, and Jason Tyman. I believe those last two did not take to the racetrack, so they are null and one. Okay, moving on to the post-race show, where we will try and analyse some of the things that happen over the course of that race. We'll see if anybody decides to, any of the drivers decide to come in and have a chat. As we see just the start of the race and how it unfolded. It was a decent race to watch, I must admit. There were some interesting moments, but unfortunately there were some also lower moments as well for some of our drivers. Russ Green, of course, getting a very early accident. The resolution to lap 1 down at Forest Elbow. Just went a little bit too deep into the corner. Ended up catching the outside wall. He ended up finishing where did he end up finishing? I'm not too sure. P24. He quit earlier, and that's okay. So here's the start of the race. With Lavis leading well. Hammond goes down on the inside. Richard King there as well. Nice and easy, nothing too crazy there from the start of the race. And everybody on the run to turn 2, I should say, sorry. So there goes Alex Court. Try and make the overtake on Christensen. Christensen holding that inside line. And the first off contacts. To win. Well done, Mikey. Well driven. So they come up to the cutting. And so far everybody's doing all right, but it's as we develop over the top of the mountain as we start to see the first signs of cracks forming. So there's Sam Chapman giving the wall a good whack into the exit, and then through into the dipper. Oof, Sam Chapman went way left. Took the scenic route. Yeah, slows down there. Doesn't give the position though. It's okay. And then here comes Russ Green on the inside. Bang into the wall, and yeah, that held up Lavis a tiny bit. But Lavis, of course, also had that incident at the front there as well, which is why he slowed down Oliver Patterson. Any damage on that front panel. All right, so we've got some of our drivers starting to filter in. Let's have a conversation with them. I'll start with Trent Lavis. Trent, so you didn't have an ideal first part of that race. We did just miss it on the broadcast, but you end up hitting the wall as Fortiatis goes wide due to that contact with David Bass. You ended up going quite wide coming into the dipper, which is unfortunate. You gave that wall a pretty hefty smack, and then of course Russ Green ended up spinning out in front of you, which slowed you up even further. So you ended up having an early pit stop. Just give us a rundown of what your thoughts were going into that first stop.
My thoughts were trying to fix the car because it was down about 10k an hour in the straights there. I was quite fortunate to just be able to drag onto the coattails of Timmy there to keep along in that first stint. Otherwise I would have been absolutely buried. So I was just trying to run the fuel down to a point where I could get to the end of one more stop and fix the car up and then put the head down and try and cut some laps.
Well, and cut some laps you did. Easily the fastest car on track. I'm just going to keep on that point for a second because there's been some contention with the BOP that's been applied to the Mercedes. A lot of people say that it's heavier than it needs to be, it's slower on some tracks. That does seem to be the case when we're watching most weeks, but you really did put a nail in that coffin. A 12.38 from you was the fastest lap in the Mercedes.
Yeah, the complaint usually wasn't you change the direction and all that sort of stuff, but I'm pretty sure where I had all my speed was actually coming down the hill. I was falling about 3 or 4 tenths on nearly everybody. Down the straights, a little bit of a slug, but it needed a bit of aero on the car to keep the thing, planted over top of the hill. But down the hill, man, the thing was a jet. Brakes are awesome, so stable. Minus that first lap, obviously, that was the brown moment for myself. But
mate, and me too, behind you.
Yeah, he almost followed me in. Yeah, it was very tight. Just cold tyres, mate. Just pushed wide into the dipper there, and just missed it by a mile.
Yeah, well, again, it might just be a track combination, but Jesus Christ, it really does suit that one because you were incredibly fast. Now, look, let's address the elephant in the room. You managed to overtake Mikey Hammond on the pit stop there at the end. Everything was going well. Riddell went a little further and managed to exit out in front of you, and then there was some slight contact going into Griffin's Bend. Now, how do you just give us that incident from your perspective? From what we saw on the broadcast, there was contact coming up to the corner, and it didn't seem too bad. But then during the middle, now it seems I misread this, so you let me know. But when I went through, when I was watching it going through the corner, you were on the outside of the camber, and I thought that you would put just a little bit too much throttle and spun the car around. But talking to race control during that, it seems as though Riddell maybe tapped you in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, definitely got a knock in the front right, but we're both into the corner relatively deep. I think Seto clipped the curb on the inside too, which didn't help his cause. So he washed a little bit wider than I was expecting, and I got a little bit of a clip, and then the end of it was, I had a little bit too much percentage on the throttle. That kept it coming around basically, so I should have lifted off a little more than I did. I might have been able to salvage that, but it definitely grabbed the front right on me a little bit. Not a lot, but definitely upset the car.
That's fair enough. It was an unfortunate one. We were really strapped in and ready to watch a crazy race because we knew that Riddell was going to defend where he could defend. But unfortunately, that did happen. You did drop down a couple of positions. I mean, ultimately, it really didn't do anything because you were well and truly taking this championship before the race even began. 424 points. You were well clear of Jordan Malcolm in P2. And so, you've definitely got that. You had that in the bag regardless. But yes, we were expecting a crazy race to the finish, and unfortunately, we didn't get that from your perspective. It's an unfortunate one there, but that is racing. Sometimes it happens. But otherwise, just on pure pace alone, mate, you were putting on a hell of a show.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, it was good fun just driving something a little bit different, but I do most of my beloved Aston. I would have preferred to have run it. I did some practice in it as well, then I would have preferred to drive that car. Just the way it drives is a bit better. This one here, it's kind of easy to drive because you can just mash the throttle out of the corners and the thing just takes it. Whereas the Aston, you breathe on the throttle out of the cutting or out of Griffin's and the thing just lights them up and you just chew the rears. So, it's a bit more of a fun car to drive. It drives more like a production car should, I suppose we call it. Like you got to manhandle it a little bit. That's why I like it. Whereas the other, it works a little bit easier to drive.
Fair enough. And moving on into future seasons, are you thinking about changing from the Aston Martin? Maybe taking up the Mercedes full time, or maybe trying a whole different other car altogether?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I tend to like the way the Aston drives. Usually got a few good setups there that I've been tinkering with throughout the years, and it got the thing to work pretty well. So, this one here, I literally, there was a setup for some reason I downloaded some Marconi setup from 2021 or 2022 that I threw in the car. It was pretty close. So just tweak the diff settings a little bit to make the thing stop trying to swap ends on me all the time, and took a little bit of wing out of it. Off of that.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, through all that you went through on that race to still finish P4, it'll be
P3.
It'll be P3
under the 10
That's
seconds.
correct. Yes, it'll be P3 once everything's resolved. That's not bad, Trent. Well done.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
All right, going on from him, might as well speak to you, Mikey. Give us your thoughts on the run through that race. How was it?
I'll set the car up to be, just a solid car through the hour, like nothing too on the edge for the longer race. Yeah, had a bit of a moment when I seen Trent going down in the dipper, and I thought his car was going to come across the track to my side, so I slid mine across the wall. But other than that, it was pretty good. I knew Riddell was fuel saving behind me because he had every chance to pass me, but he just stood there behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And Trent done his last pit stop. I asked him if he had clean air, and he's like, yep. And I'm like, well, I'm coming in on that last stop, and we'll see what happens to the end. And yeah, them two got together, and I'll come back for the win.
Yeah, so we saw obviously the incident happen. Trent got spun round, Phil kept going, and I said, I was like, oh well, that's completely worked in Hammond's favour once the race control message came up. So you really didn't have to do anything, but you chose to anyway, because you could have just sat back and absolutely let it coast. But for the last couple of laps, you were pushing, and you were really trying to grab him. We saw you almost did a replication going into Griffin's Bend. You went on the outside and you were like, yeah, I'm going to take you. You ended up coming back in, and then there was a little moment in the cutting, and I just thought, this guy can just chill. Why is he attacking? But you were like, nah, I want to do it on track.
Yeah, I was chasing him pretty hard until that 10-second penalty came up. I'm like, yeah, and then his tyres started to go pretty bad, which kept me onto his pace, and then he got held up through the dipper, which is unfortunately one of my teammates, and got onto the back of him. I thought, might as well have a crack. We're here not to run in line of stern. Might as well have a go for the top spot.
Yeah, we did see that. There was the back, David Christensen, I believe, yes, coming through the dipper. I saw it on the track map, and I just went, oh, that's a back marker, and we saw that there was a little bit of a slowdown, which is unfortunate for Glenn. But
there's nothing you can do through there because it's a one line circuit through the dipper. Like, if you're going to try to pass through there, you got some big balls. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. It's the majority of the top of the mountain is what we consider to be tram tracks. But you are right. You can definitely make overtakes there, but you do have to have some pretty big ballast on the lower half of the boat.
And saying that, you have to trust the driver beside you if you're going to try to put a move down in there as well.
Yeah, that's right, 100%. But anyway, look, congrats on the win. In terms of the performance of the Porsche, do you think you're going to carry that into the next season, or are you thinking about switching it up?
Oh, we'll see what happens through the new year. We'll do a little bit of testing like we usually do before the rounds come up, and we'll just go through the new year, see what we like, see what changes are coming up with the new update and stuff, and yeah, just go from there.
Perfect. Well, congrats on your win, mate, and you have a good one.
Cheers.
All right, Sam Chapman, I will come to you last because I want to speak to Greg Brooks here. Greg Brooks, you were... I got two. Actually, let me start with two things. One, your livery's fantastic. I love the color scheme, and it looks just great on the Aston. And two, you were really, really pushing it tonight. You had some really close battles, especially with Lavis towards the back end. And how did the race feel for you?
Oh, Daniel, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I got nothing, eh? It was so much fun, man. I was having those battles with Adam, sticking around with Sam, watching him kind of put pressure on Adam, and I thought, okay, let's see what happens here, and just sit back, be safe, don't do anything stupid, and poor Adam had a little bit of blunder on the wall, so it was my turn to push Adam along, but. Yeah, it was tough. Trying to follow behind him was so difficult. So I was just trying to make sure I get my corners and hit my apexes and get a good exit. I knew I was faster than him from turn 2 right up to Skyline, but then he'd catch me or pull away depending on where he was at the time down through right down to the cutting. So not the cutting, down the chase, and that's when I picked up more time. So the problem was just right when I needed that gap to be close, I'd lost it. But thankfully I got to him at a point in the pits and able to break away from him after a while.
Yeah, so just expand a little bit on when you were saying that it was really difficult to follow. So was that a sense of because of how close that you were getting through some of the corners, you were having issues with the handling of the car, or is it more so just trying to keep up with the lines that he was taking?
Bit of A, bit of B, bit of C. I literally just jumped in this car tonight mucking around with Sam in his hosted. So
Okay.
I've not driven with anyone, and I'm like, this is insane, this car. And I noticed the A pillar on that Aston is, it's huge. So I was blind trying to hit the left-hand apexes. Yeah. So I was just trying to guess where I was sometimes, and just go by muscle memory. That was kind of what I had to lean on for a while. Not knowing how he was driving, his brake markers, because I seem to have my brake markers into certain areas like the chase. I think were a little bit later than others, so I was really having to manage. Manage my entry and exits because I didn't want to ram up the back end of someone.
Yep. No, I know exactly what you mean. I'll say this though: if that's your first time driving that car, well done. Because you put on a hell of a show again, finishing P9. If everything resolves, P9. And so Lavis is about 2 seconds behind you at the line. So great show, mate. Do you think? Was that enough to sort of convince you to drive the car for next season, or are you looking at something different?
Kind of wet the whistle, you say?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I loved it, but what I've been doing this season, I've been doing Super 2 and GT3s, so that's a big enough commitment for me at the time. Normally I can't just jump in a car and fly around.
Yep.
Apparently, I'm getting a little bit better at that. But no, as much as I loved it, it's a whole new beast for me. Going from a V8 supercar, the legacy, through to the GT3, that's enough of a wild ride to get used to. So, I think I'll enjoy this little moment here, I think.
Oh, no worries. Well, in any case, mate, it was a fantastic drive from you, and it was good to watch. And from all that it sounds like, it was great for you too.
Yeah. I have to say though, I feel so bad about the finish line. I got so excited, I took one hand off the wheel and I started to drift right, and I hit Gazza, and I'm like, oh no!
That's right. Yes. We were having a good laugh about that. But who was it? Someone in the chat, Halzoy, I think, was saying. Something about the mechanics? Oh, yeah.
He's actually my teammate in Tractix Racing, and he's mentioned about the mechanics. I got to be upset for that one.
But it was awfully close. You were, I think, at the end, it was .004 between you and Gary Cousins.
Yeah, I still got it up. So it was. He finished 27.97 behind, and I was a 27.998, so 0.28, 0.028. So that was. I kind of thought I was pressuring him coming out of the chase, and I thought, I've got him, and then I was a little bit too far back, and then heading into Murray's is the last one, isn't it?
Yes, it's correct.
I saw he was a little bit off, and I went, I've got to nail this. And my exit was so perfect, and I just sent it. I was like, just do it, and there's literally a headlight in between us.
Yeah. If only the finish line wasn't the bridge.
I know, right? If it was a little bit further up,
if it was where the start line was, you'd have had him. All right.
No, it was a lot of fun. Thank you heaps for having me. It was a lot of fun.
No worries, man. Thank you. It was an awesome drive, and thanks for having the chat to us.
Thanks, Daniel.
All right, Sam. Go on. Give us your thoughts. You were running really, really good at the front at the start, but then you just went a little wide going into Griffiths. You hit that wall, and that was only the start of your troubles, because I believe you had at least another brush with something towards the back end as well. You ended up in P11, so considering where you started, it's only 2 positions down, not bad, but that could have gone better.
Well, Daniel, they do say that Bathurst separates the boys from the men, and I'm not sure if my balls have dropped yet at this week. So, it was fun tonight though. We didn't quality super well. I've never been that great around here. Probably need to do some work on it. And had a great battle with Mav early on. I mean, I thought he got a bit of a wiggle through there, so I sort of went wide, thinking I might be able to go around the outside. I wasn't being particularly patient, to be honest. So, and yeah, went too wide, and then yeah, I went off. I had a couple of wobbles up along the top of the mountain, just as I did on Monday as well. So yeah, I think there's probably a bit of practice to go in before we come around here again. But had good fun. It was a good field out as well, and yeah, it was good to have just in the Discord too.
That's good. Yeah, so it definitely was a good race all round. There were some really good moments and fighting and battles. And I mean, it's Mount Panorama, it usually always delivers. My question to you, though, will be, considering your performance in the Porsche this season, I don't think that Adam has done the final calculations in terms of the standings, but if I remember correctly, you were up in the top half, weren't you?
Yeah, so I'm just having a look at him do some calculations. I think I'll end up in 4th place overall. I think it looks like it'll be Trent. Oh, be a Aussie racers in crew actually. I think it'll be Trent, Gary, then Mikey, and then myself. So yeah, I mean the Porsche. I like the Porsche. I think there's you know, it sort of was to that sort of thing a bit, but I haven't driven many of the other cars, so it's hard to compare it that well. This season's more just been punctuated by sort of bad luck early on with, you know, not being able to get to races, or, you know, things uninstalling or dropping out, or, you know, all the sorts of rubbish that happened at Road Atlanta. And then so the second half of the season, I sort of haven't had that much time to get the practice in that I did last season as well. It's sort of an aspect of it being on a Wednesday compared to a Monday for me. I can spend a little bit of time on Sunday doing practice, but a Tuesday is often filling up.
That's fair enough. Well, what's your thoughts? Are you going to carry on the Porsche in the next season, or are you thinking about switching it up?
I'll have a look. I'll see what they do with the BOP. There's been a bit of chatter around that. It's a hard thing to do. Like, yeah, that Merc sometimes looks like it's a bit silent straight line, but Trent could certainly rip it around this circuit, no problems. And there is an aspect that it is really drivable. So, you know, it doesn't really surprise you, the Merc, which means you can probably do pretty consistent laps around. Porsche's been good. I'll be interested to see what happens with the McLaren as well. Jordan's been incredible in that, but he is also a bit of a specialist in that, I think, too. Yeah, we'll see how we go. We'll see what the roster looks like for next season. I might have to take a little bit less on, but we'll work it out.
And just on that point of the BOP, what's in terms of your opinion, what do you think, that we should maybe more carefully craft the BOP for the next season, or get rid of it entirely?
I don't think we should get rid of it entirely, because there is an aspect that, you know, in other series it often is a bit of a Mercedes Cup. Having said that, I do think this year they have, each of the GT4 cars has become closer to that Merc. It sort of has been nerfed a bit, but, you know, the BOP has also come up with it to some extent. It might be able to be gifted a little bit more back. Outside of that, maybe the Bimmer could get a little more. You know, I always thought the Macca could get a bit more, but, you know, seeing how Jordan's able to manoeuvre that, it's a difficult argument to make. Won almost every race he competed in this year, this season in that. So that's right. They've got a lot of time to do it over the break, so I'm sure they'll come up with a decent model for it.
You know what the true solution is? iRacing adds another GT4 car.
That is true.
They should add the GR Super. Bring in the GR Super GT4, and that way there'll be a Toyota on the grid there, and it would be fantastic. I love that car in real life, and I'm sure it'll be a really good one in the sim as well.
Yeah, that would be excellent. Are there any other GT4 cars? I'm just trying to... I don't know the series that well.
There are heaps. So, You can go like, it depends how you want to put it, but like you've got the Camaro has a GT4 entry, so you could do that. The Super, of course, the Ginetta, so Ginetta has a GT4 entry that you could do. Technically, you could spec a Mustang GT4 because they do have their GT3 entry. So that could be an option. And do Audi have an updated GT4? I don't think they do.
What would it be, like a TT or something?
No, I think they've got an R8 entry. I think they have an R8 that runs a GT4 spec. And also the, what's that French brand? Alpine. Alpine have the A10.
Yes, true.
Yeah, so I think that's all. Yeah. So the Alpine have a GT. So there are a few that they could pick from, whether or not, but they also do have their hands full. I can only imagine, with their weather systems, and they're also doing the Audi GT3, the Evo. So yeah, there's a lot of things coming up. I don't know if they've got time for a GT4, but I'd love another GT4.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. It's been a while since we've got one, so I think it's about time. I think it's a good series. It's a nice, accessible series of very raceable cars. So I've always sort of enjoyed doing it. It's can be a bit of a car to get used to with all the sort of understeer and comparatively rubbish brakes and that sort of thing. But that's sort of what makes it a good little challenge and quite raceable. So that real sort of in-between point between your basic sort of production cars, your big boy GT3s and the like. So yeah, we'll say. I'm not sure if it's out when next season is, but I think we've got a bit of a break ahead to work out what to do with ourselves, don't we, Danny?
We do. Yeah, definitely. That would be at least 2 weeks, right?
Oh, it'd be longer than that.
It'd be longer than that?
It'd be more like 2 months.
Oh, 2 months. No, fair enough. I'm new here, so I don't know how the new year rolls around. But
I think it started about end of January, start of February.
Perfect. Well, there we go. So it's plenty of time.
Yep.
It looks like the final points are there. So yes, Trent Lavis takes out the top spot, 465. Mikey Hammond comes across in P2 with 403. Gary Cousins 399, and yourself, Sam Chapman, with 357 in P4.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Sam.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the broadcast. We hope that those of you who are watching at home had a good night and a good time. Thank you, Josh, for the love in the chat. And we'll do a quick shout out to our sponsors one more time. These are the guys that make it possible to bring you these broadcasts for the majority of the night. Splash Graphics, M-Wave Australia, Login Systems, the title sponsor for our GT4 series, Orbic, Waste Options, Lobesy Racing, Player One Sim Gear, and Pure Tasmanian Sprayton non-alcoholic cider. Alright, so thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We are calling it a night here. We hope you have enjoyed yourselves. I have enjoyed bringing it to you. I am Daniel Carrier, and on behalf of myself and all the team here at the GSRC, we will catch you on the next one. Goodbye for now.